It's not college football season without the delicious taste of an ice-cold Dr. Pepper. College football, it's a pepper thing. Now, a couple of days after you announced that you and your wife will be parents for the first time, you said specifically that dropping the kid was your biggest concern.
Correct.
Is that still the case 48 hours later from the moment you said that?
Yes.
So you're still thinking about dropping the baby?
Yes. I mean, we had Adam Schefter on the show, and he said even though he didn't drop the baby, there was an incident where a baby was dropped in his friend group.
His son dropped his daughter, he said, right?
Right, it was the kids. It would be like, so my son is turning 12.
That's a thing.
And my daughter's 9. I don't remember us ever giving my son the opportunity to hold my daughter in a way that would allow for him to drop her. Like we would be sitting there with him as he was carrying her. But now if they're watching, he's going to try to pick her up and carry her. I know what's going to happen in that house. It's not fair to my wife what I just did. I got to be honest with you.
Oh my God.
My son also heard the idea of him babysitting for your kid, and that's all he talks about now.
Love it.
He's like really all in on that.
Love it.
We got to hang out with your kids, Ev. It's time.
You got to hang out with my kids?
All of us. It's time.
Okay.
We want to hang out with your kids. They seem like the coolest, and we need to confirm that. We need to meet them and hang out.
My son towers over you.
He wasn't.
Most people do, Ev. I'm pretty sure.
He wasn't hiding his kids from the world. He was hiding the world from his kids. That's what Evan's been doing.
I have them actually planting trees.
Sending them off to camp while we do the ECHC.
That's right.
Well, you know all the trees in my backyard, right?
Oh, boy.
I had my kids plant them, as a matter of fact.
How much did it cost?
I bought a much bigger house as a result now. I got 28 mil. What can I say? Allegedly. All right, so a massive story dropped yesterday. Pablo Torre finds out. Congratulations to him as he had unbelievable investigative reporting yesterday that was released. And if you're unaware of what this is, he found out that the Clippers and Kawhi Leonard have kind of interesting dealings with a company that was brought up on all kinds of charges called Aspiration. This was supposed to be an environmental company. It was supposed to be basically planting trees, carbon into the air and countering all of like the private jets and all of the different things that would be against all of the health benefits of the country and the world that we live in, right? And so part of this, he found documents from the company Aspiration in which Steve Ballmer, the majority governor of the LA Clippers, partially funded with a $50 million investment through his personal LLC that was to this company. And then he found out that one of the spokespersons or people, one of the endorsers was Kawhi Leonard for this company, receiving a $28 million contract from Aspiration. Mm-hmm. Pablo then found out, well, there was nothing that was actually done in terms of any kind of endorsement. And Pablo Torre was on with Sedano Capi, espn LA 710 in Los Angeles, and had this to say about what he discovered.
The way I found out about this is I was like, okay, there's this bankruptcy filing for this company that is public. There's a clue in that filing that says Aspiration still owes outstanding $7 million to a bunch of entities, creditors. One of those creditors was an LLC by the name of KL2 Aspire LLC. Aspiration, Aspire, literally in the name, KL2. Look up the filing for that. Kawhi Leonard, right? Number 2. Okay, so logical next question, Jorg, as a reporter. Here we go. When has he ever endorsed this company? And you look on the internet, I scour, ask all the sources I can, every bit of rock being turned over, I do. And there are 0 examples of him doing anything. 0. And then get the contract. We get the contract that's signed and executed, right? Kawhi's autograph is on it. And there are not only fishy things, as alluded to, but there's also, per the contract language, no obligation for him to do anything.
Okay, so let me just go even further here, for all kinds of clarification. When a player in sports plays for a team that has a salary cap, there is a certain amount that player is allotted to be paid. More likely than not, the owner of whatever team, governor, whatever team it is, has other businesses that theoretically that player could endorse products. That's deemed to be salary cap circumvention in some cases because you can't pay extra outside of the salary cap. Okay. In addition, it is not uncommon for a business that sponsors a team to also want to sponsor the best player on the team for alignment with the branding, right? Even look at us, GNC with CC. GNC is a great advertising partner for ESPN Radio. They have chosen to align themselves with CC as the face of that within the ESPN Radio campaign. That doesn't mean everything's on the up and up here. That doesn't mean everything's illegal. That means Kawhi Leonard, per the reporting, had a no-show job for $28 million for a company that Steve Ballmer was investing in, that he got scammed and many others got scammed for their investments. Where we go from here is the Clippers denying it, the NBA investigating it, and as of this moment, we have no idea if this actually is salary cap circumvention. If he went to the Clippers because they got this endorsement deal for him, or he got that endorsement deal.
What I'm unclear about is Steve Ballmer's role when it comes to Aspire, because the government instituted an investigation into that company because they defaulted on their obligations. So I'm unclear whether Steve Ballmer is a conspirator or whether he's a victim. And based on the statement released by the Clippers, he's a victim.
Correct. That's their view of it.
That's
Absolutely.
the view.
Yeah.
That's their view of it. So I mean, it's presumptuous to sit here and say that it's salary cap circumvention.
Agreed.
If this is a scenario where Steve Ballmer invested in a startup that's geared toward green in the Bay Area, and then all of a sudden he was duped, and it just so happens that one of the spokespersons for that company back when it started in the early 2020s happened to be his star player. I don't have a good read on this one, Smalls, but I think
that is a good read.
I think we have to wait and see more information come out before we sit here and assume that this is Steve Ballmer trying to skirt the rules when it comes to the NBA salary cap.
I just want to be clear, Smalls, and I obviously go on this, but just to be clear on this, because I listened to and watched the whole thing that Pablo Torre did yesterday. What you just said is, I don't have a good read. I believe not having a good read is a good read, meaning I think, especially when Mark Cuban chimes in a non-nasty sort of way, but he did question Pablo's reporting, which I'm not at all questioning Pablo's reporting.
No.
Because Pablo did not say this was salary cap circumvention. What he said is, it seems like on the surface that something is odd with this, and that salary cap circumvention would be what the NBA would investigate. Sorry, Smalls, go ahead.
Well, but in the report, it says an unnamed employee who purportedly worked for Aspiration told Pablo Torre that the payment to Leonard, to Kawhi, was to, quote, circumvent the salary cap. So in the story, there is a quote that there is an unnamed employee who suggested that was the intent of this.
They had that person speaking. They modulated his voice,
right,
or her voice. I don't know if it's a man or a woman. I have no idea because they modulate. It seems like a man. Modulated the voice. So you can't. But to that point.
But there is someone who said that, which is why we have arrived at that conclusion.
Who's circumventing the cap?
Correct, and that's why the NBA is doing this investigation.
So let me go further on that then. To your point that you just made, Smalls. The business that is sponsoring the Clippers, because this aspiration was sponsoring the Clippers, the better the team does, the more people that come in, the more people that look at it, the more people that watch it, the more people that consume it, the better it is for the advertising partner.
Correct.
Is there a possibility, just asking the question, that the advertising partner, in this case Aspiration, now it's a fraudulent thing, but we didn't know this at the time, that they say, we need two to be there. We need Kawhi to be there. Let's ensure he's going to be there by saying, you're only going to get this money if you're there. Now,
that makes sense.
That's not Steve Ballmer. What you said, CC, is that Steve Ballmer involved or not? We don't know. But a company saying, I want ROI, return on investment, for my sponsorship, which is enormous for the Clippers, to be ideal, I need him to be there. For instance, if you're a Lakers advertising partner, you advertise with the Lakers, like, we got to be with this huge brand. We're going to pay millions upon millions of dollars. We need them to be good. How do you ensure that they're good? Keep Luka there. Keep LeBron there. Mm-hmm. I'm going to do something separate with them that Jeannie Buss at the time may have no idea about, because I want to have a contingency advertising partnership that we're only going to give this to you if you're on the Lakers.
But here's the thing. The owner can still have some idea about it, though, because that happens in other instances. This is not a novel concept when it comes to trying to keep star athletes in a particular market with these companies that have endorsement deals that are tied closely to the team. They do it all the time. Dallas Cowboys, New York Giants, they do it. New York Yankees, they do it all the time. So this is not a scenario where, it's unique in that a company chooses to align themselves with the Clippers, and then they want in on being able to keep the best player in that market because that means the team is going to be better.
That's correct.
This happens all the time in sports. And to take it a step further, Ev, a part of some of the free agent pitches that you get as a professional athlete happen to be the owners making these introductions to these individuals that control these entities that funnel endorsement dollars to you. So even though it's by the letter of the law, not salary cap circumvention, it is a scenario where the owner is finding opportunities for his best players to get dollars off the field or off the court. This happens all the time in pro sports.
They're giving you the assist.
Yes, they're lobbing it up to you.
Yeah.
It just so happens that in this particular instance, Steve Ballmer happens to be an investor with aspiration.
That's where the gray area is, right? And so let's just use it in your case. And Dan Orlovsky's going to join us in a little bit here. So, but in your case, when you were recruited to go play for the Giants, free agent pitch, Steve Tisch is one of the owners of the Giants.
Oh yeah,
huge movie mogul.
Huge.
Right. What would not be allowed, Steve Tisch could then say to you, "Hey, I'm going to introduce you to my friends at GNC." Totally fine. Steve Tisch can't say, "We're going to give you this 7-year deal with the Giants, and these are the 4 movies I'm going to put you in."
But he owns the film company.
Right, but you keep. That's where it's salary cap circumvention.
You can make it happen.
That's
where you can't do that. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, you can't do that. That's the part that's unclear to me in terms of what Ballmer's role in all of this is, and that's the part that we have to have made clear to us when it comes to the investigations that are happening, the government investigation, the NBA investigation, so on and so forth.
Now, obviously, we need to see how the investigation pans out. But if they find that Steve Ballmer is complicit in this, I'm very interested to see what the consequences would be.
Okay, let's go there for a second. So, first of all, when you say complicit, that specifically means he dictated his investment into aspiration to be rerouted to a player for joining his team, in this case, Kawhi Leonard. In other words, I'm going to give you this money, and you're going to give it to him so I can employ him over here. That would be complicit, right? What happens to him is interesting. So Joe Smith was a former number 1 overall pick in the draft years ago out of Maryland. It was similar to what's going on here with the Minnesota Timberwolves back in the day. They forfeited 5 first-round picks. Their then majority governor Glenn Taylor got suspended. Their then general manager Kevin McHale, Hall of Famer, of course, then also got in trouble and was suspended as a result. That is massive. Tongue-in-cheek, I do wonder if the Clippers wouldn't mind Kawhi's contract being voided at this
Facts.
But the reality is there would be extremely harsh penalties. My guess, if I had to guess, is the richest majority governor in the sport, Steve Ballmer. The NBA is going to look into this, do an honest, real investigation, but I'm sure they're hoping that it was on the up and up. This is not a guy you want out of the league.
They want the big money guy to be there.
The previous majority governor of the Clippers, you wanted him out of the league.
Yeah.
This guy, you don't want him out of the league. You want to continue to raise the funds involved in your business, and he helps you do that.
Yeah.
So while they're going to do an honest investigation, you know that Adam Silver and his team right now are hoping, I hope this is one massive miscommunication. I hope these guys were all ripped off here.
I will say this, when it comes to the integrity of the sport, what Steve Ballmer is being accused of doing is almost more egregious than what Donald Sterling did.
People need to listen to what CC just said. Integrity of the sport, not integrity of the sport.
Integrity of the sport.
Yes.
Because competition is at the heart of it. And with now sports gambling being legalized in most states and how pervasive it is and how integral it is to the entertainment product as a whole, if the integrity of your sport is challenged because of salary cap circumvention, you got a problem if you're Adam Silver.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. Well, I feel good about endorsing Midas and talking about Midas because I know Paul and the team at Midas, so it's not